G'day guys, kia ora, goeiedag, my name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show, and yes, you are here today because finally, it is time, North versus South, Rugby Championship versus Six Nations, and technically not part of the November Test Series, and yeah, some of the players are not going to be available because it's outside the assigned window by World Rugby, even though these games are technically played in November. Who knows? Who knows, right? Maybe the World Rugby has a different calendar, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We are here to play rugby, and this weekend will be a massive, massive weekend for a number of different reasons. Now, first up, I am going to talk about all three games, big games. This weekend, Scotland versus USA. You guys can look that up yourself. And then normally I don't do this, so I'm gonna try go through everything as quickly as possible. It's just so this video doesn't go to like 40 minutes. But hey, without further ado, let's have a look at the men for the first game of the weekend, England versus Wallabies at Twickenham Stadium, or should I say, Allianz Stadium. And yes, despite the restrictions, Wallabies are not going to be able to field Ikitau, not going to be able to have Hooper, and not going to be able to have, who's the other guy? There's another guy, James O'Connor, despite not having those three key players that found success in the Lions Tour and the Rugby Championship. I thought the Wallabies actually put up a pretty strong team. There's a few new different combinations in the England side, and Steve Bothwick seemed to be giving some of the future a shot here against the Wallabies at home. So I felt like, despite the lack, some of the accessibility to the players, the Wallabies actually has a stronger team here, and the England side, they have access to all of their players, because they have because the RFU has an agreement to the local clubs obviously, and yeah, it is interesting how they actually fielded the team, but we'll have to talk about that in a second. Firstly, the referee this weekend, Nika Ashuma-Kelly from Georgia. I thought he's a pretty good referee overall. Not too many crazy stuff. No one's perfect, but overall, I'm pretty happy with him. I just think that his scrum interpretation, especially if a team don't take the hit and deliberately kind of like pulls back, I think he tends to not call that. He actually calls for a early push. So watch out for that. I think that's the only thing that really stands out for me, is the lack of commitment from teams not holding up the weight on engagement or post engagement. There's something to look at when it comes to the scrum battles there. The weather's going to be perfect weather always in England for rugby. Actually not going to be raining on Saturday, so potentially a slight improvement from the drizzle that we're going to be seeing throughout the week. So the Wallabies going into this match on and off, losing the Lions Tour. The last minute try from Hugo Keenan really hurt us in the second test, and outstanding performance in the third test. You could say that the Lions didn't really care at that point, but still, the Wallabies definitely improved in strides after that. To beat South Africa at Ellis Park the first time in 60 years was absolutely incredible. Coming back as well from like a 22.0 deficit to score 38 unanswered points. Actually, 35 unanswered points or 38 or 48. Anyway, it was just a ridiculous comeback. And then go on to put on some really strong performances as well against Argentina, and only to kind of, in my opinion, fall off a cliff a little bit. The little brother syndrome against the New Zealand to lose the Bledisloe Cup. And last week, the Wallabies, youngsters came through with a tight win over Japan. Did what it needed to be done. Wasn't the greatest game ever, but it was, did what needs to be done to get the game won. And, I'm just grateful. That Eddie Jones did not take this one from us. England, however, are very, very, very strong performances coming into this game. So England and the Six Nations actually had an opportunity to win the Six Nations, despite they losing their first match against Ireland. Even in the first match against Ireland, I'm pretty sure England was pretty far behind, and Ireland pretty much won the game. And England just scored 2 or 3 tries right at the end to deny the bonus point, I guess. Was deny the bonus? Yeah, just 2-3 points at the end to get the bonus point for themselves. And then, despite getting flogged for most of the game, they really made a comeback at the end there, and then go on to upsetting France at home, and then almost getting the Six Nations if it wasn't for some dominant performances, dominant try differences from the French side to close it out for themselves. But England is actually play with more determination, play with more I guess, play with more leadership on the field in the Six Nations, and everything was, leading to a lot of the players getting selected for the Lions tour as well. So yeah, are we going to see that England? Or are we going to see the England going back to the milking penalties and goal kicking, the time wasting, and having the scrums, not really know how to pack a scrum, and talking to the referee, that sort of stuff. So we'll have to see which England teams are going to show up. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. England also had obviously their B team playing against Argentina in a really, really tough outing against Argentina, especially in that second test. Very, very close for England to pull it away in the last minute for a last-minute try to win the match as well. Just outstanding pulling through there for the England side. And also England, played America as well to finish off their July series outings. So yeah, let's have a look. With that being said, the two teams, England actually has overwhelming dominance over the Wallabies. Credit to Eddie Jones, was the one that did really, really well. But last year, probably the one that hurt the most. Nobody was expecting the Wallabies to win, with Swali basically coming in like this might be his first game. And just absolutely, swept England away in a surprise win, 37 points to 42. So England's going to be licking their chops to try to redeem themselves from that game. So let's have a quickly look at the players who's going to be playing. Coming in the front rowers, I think Baxter coming in number 1, Jamie George, veteran, coming in number 2, and Joey Hayes, number 3 for the England starting front rowers. The Wallabies has loaded up the front rowers. This is probably the strongest front rowers the Wallabies could muster. Angus Bell, who's been coming off the bench, gets moved out to the start. I think he's always been the number 1 loose set prop over James Slipper. Anyway, he finally gets officially starting now at number 1. Peter Pollard number 2, and Talala Tupo time comes in number 3. Will be putting some pressure on Baxter. Obviously, England has put their more experience, I think, in my opinion, front rowers on the bench to potentially do that bomb squat finish for themselves there. In the locks, we've got Mario Toji, the captain, and also captain for the captain of the Lions. I'm pretty sure he's captain of the Lions as well. And Ollie Chesson comes in then 4 and 5. Nick Frost returns number 4, and Jeremy Williams has an outstanding season so far. Gets number 5 jersey. Guy Pepper gets caught in at blindside flanker position. A bit of a newer guy here for England. Rob Valentini comes in number 6. Veteran now in the blindside flanker. Sam Underhill comes in number 7. And Ben Earl opting for a bit more speed than size here. Again, pretty much this is like the go-to guy now, number 8. Ben Earl. So Carnahan South is not in the starting team. So Ben Earl here, again, really, really, really good in terms of that rush defense as well. We'll have to see how it's going to perform against the Wallabies. So they basically have 2 open side flankers here with a 7 and 8 here and or you can say two number 8s here. In 7 and 8, Sam Underhill and Ben Earl. So Fraser McRae comes in number 7, absolutely outstanding for the Wallabies. And then finally, Henry Wilson, the captain, returns to the number 8. He was playing last week, but officially back to being the captain and number 8 jersey for the Wallabies. He's been absolutely outstanding for the Wallabies, especially with some of that hard ball carrying. Alex Mitchell returned number 9. I thought he should have got more time in the Lions tour in the starting position. George Ford, the surprise selection for me here, gets back at number 10. He signed an extension to 2027. And is immediately getting the opportunity here. He had an outstanding performance in July, so maybe that's why he wasn't favored that much in the Six Nations. Marcus Smith and Finn Smith were the kind of like Finn Smith, in fact, was the go-to 10 for England in the November Test series, and George Ford has returned to the grace of Steve Borthwick with that number 10 jersey with a lot of experience, and watch out for some of the drop goals as well. Will be an outstanding. It's always a pleasure to watch George Ford play. In my books, Jay Gordon Kitts returns to number 9. Really, did really well controlling the game and finishing off against Japan last week. And Tam Edmund gets number 10 once again. Slippery conditions last week. I thought he could do a bit, definitely needs to improve that a little bit. And also, he wasn't given that much options. So this week, hopefully, that his support players will have to, it's really important for him to really get the ball out to pick the right options tonight, this week. Unlike last week, the forwards did the brute of the work, and the backs really didn't do too much. So Edmund has to step up this week against the English. A big return here for England as well. Fai Waboso. He did miss out the Six Nations just injury, and he's been absolutely outstanding for England every time he played in the past. I'm looking forward to seeing him play once again this week, and he's massive, just massive legs, and just absolutely loaded with energy. And Harry Porter returns at number 11. Henry Porter returns at number 11 for the Wallabies, a former guy that plays in England against a lot of these English players in the Premiership. He's going to have an opportunity to shine here. Basically back at home, essentially. Fraser Dingwall gets number 12 jersey for England, and another newer guy here to show his to show himself an opportunity. Hunter Paisame returns at number 12, with Ikite obviously not available last week. Again, not really that amazing. Hopefully we can see a bit of a kicking game from him. Hopefully we'll see a bit more carry game. He can open up some opportunities for Swali'i at number 13. Tommy Freeman, the guy play win against the Wallabies, the Lions Sword, gets the outside center position at number 13. And then Joseph Akuso Swali'i gets number 13 jersey for the Wallabies. I've noticed that the Wallabies have, has done a much better job in the rugby championship in terms of utilizing him as an attacking weapon than they did again in the Lions tour. So hopefully I want to see that improve from them to continue create opportunities for him to make space for him to really show that athleticism that he's got. Tom Rubach comes in number 14, another relatively newer guy for England as well. Max Jorgensen, probably one of the best players we've had in a decades. It's outstanding, comes back at number 14 for the Wallabies. And finally, Freddie Stewart as well returns to grace with Steve Bothwick, gets a number 15 jersey ahead of Marcus Smith, who's left out of the squad this week. And then Andrew Callaway returns to number 15 for the Wallabies. On the bench now, like I said, the England side has loaded up the front rowers here. Luke Cowan-Dickie, Ellis Genge, and Will Stewart are all absolutely A-plus world-class players. And Genge, Lions tour as well. I think Cowan-Dickie was Lions tour as well, but maybe not. But it's just absolutely brutal loading up the front rowers here for the England side. Josh Naser comes in number 16 for the Wallabies. Tom Robertson number 17, and then Ala Alatoa gets a nod at number 18 jersey. It's gonna be tough. Tom Robertson against Ala Alatoa against the Ellis Genge there. It's gonna be another one of those showdowns that we're gonna be watching with a magnifying glass. Coming in number 19, we've got Alex Cole for England, and Lukam Salaka Lotto comes in number 19. Tom Curry, number 20. Nick Champion to Cribbini comes to 20 for the Wallabies. Henry Pollock, the 6th forward on the bench for the England side, number 21. An impact player off the bench, no doubt. And Ryan Lonergan will be coming off at number 21 for the Wallabies. I literally just found this on my jersey. And this jersey is like 20 years old. I literally just found this. Can you see? I literally just found this on the jersey. What? It's been there for 20 years. Anyway, that is a surprise. Did not expect that. Anyway, let's move on. Ben Spencer comes in number 22 for England. Hamish Stewart, 22 for the Wallabies. And finally, Finn Smith, who did outstandingly well for the England side, number 23 for a strong finish. And Filipu Taugunu has been outstanding for the Wallabies out of the 23 jersey as a, center, basically center and winger cover multiple positions there. So Wallabies could potentially looking at 2 center exchanges here to finish off again, Hamish Stewart obviously a center as well. So yeah, both center might be changed at some point. Maybe Swali'i at fullback. Not too sure. We'll have to see how this goes. I do think that England is rewarding some of the players who did well in July, but I think that the Wallabies here is a very, very strong lineup. I think the Wallabies will win this one. 20 points to 13. Yeah, so that's that. So next up, we've got Japan versus the Springboks. We've already talked about the Springboks lineup, so we're just going to quickly go through it once again. Ox Inche, Malcolm Marks, and Zachary Portham comes in for the front rowers for the Springboks. Kenta Kobayashi, number 1, Kenji Saito, number 2, and Shuhei Takeuchi comes in number 3. The Japan scrum wasn't that bad last week against the Wallabies, but this week is another massive step up against the no salad scrum machine. Ox and Chie, to see how that goes. Achia Sneeman comes in number 4 for the Springboks. Lou Diacha comes in number 5. Jack Cornelson comes in number 4. Warren Durns comes in number 5, who did physicality. These guys definitely brought it last week in terms of defense against the Wallabies. Number 6 in the open side for the Springboks, Siya Khaleesi. Ben Gunter comes in number 6 for the Japan, also really physical last week. Franco Moster comes in number 7 in the blindside flanker. Kanji Shimokawa comes in number 7 for Japan. And finally, number 8, the headbutt red card machine, Jasper Visa, gets the nod for the 8. And Michael Leach, who was outstanding last week against the Wallabies, returns at number 8 jersey. Coming up 9, this might be a bit of a point where Japan might, surprise some of the South Africans. Kobus Reiner coming number 9, and Shinobu Fujiwara was absolutely on fire against the Wallabies last week. The decision making, the quick balls around the rocks, and then the pick and goes was just incredible. So this guy might spark up something against the Springboks this weekend. And we got Sasha Fangberg Ngome Zulu. The future of the Springboks rugby comes in number 10. Sengxing Lee comes in number 10 for Japan. Curdy Adensa returns to number 11. Tomoki Osada comes in 11 for Japan. Damien De Lindard comes in number 12. Jesse Crew number 13. December, the World Cup winning center combination here for the Springboks, absolutely loading it up in center field against the Japans. Charlie Lawrence and Dylan Riley. Dylan Riley grew up in Australia, in Brisbane as well. And yeah, this is again really respecting the Japan centers. Last week the Wallabies rush defense wasn't that great, so Japan was given a lot of opportunities to explore the space out wide and looked really dangerous. Should some of the passes gone to hand, it could have been, the game could have gone the other way against the Wallabies. So the Springboks definitely taken that notes and put up a really strong defensive setup, at least. Probably the best defensive setup in terms of center pairings in Dale Linder and Jesse Krill. Ethan Notahuka comes in number 14. Kipei Ishida comes in number 14 for Japan. And finally, in the fullback position, Cheslin Kobe for the mighty Springboks. And Yoshitaka Yazaki comes in number 15 for the for Japan. Damien Willemser with a leg injury, hamstring injury, not being selected here. Johan Huebler comes in number 16 for the Springboks. Stinekamp comes in number 17, and then Wilco Lowe, the absolute tank machine, comes in number 18. Again, just loading up the front rowers on the bench. Japan as well. On the other side, have Shodai Hirao comes in number 16. Ryusuke Iwaihara comes in number 17. Keijiro Tamefusa comes in number 18. Number 19, Ruan Nokia for the Springboks. Andre Esterhuizen. Sorry, people tell me that it's not a there. Esterhuizen comes in number 20. He is definitely coming on as a forward. Rassi is making sure that everybody knows that he's coming on as a forward by giving him the number 20 jersey. We saw him play again as a flanker against Italy in July, so definitely want to exploit that a little bit more. Tyler Paul comes in number 19. Faulua Makisi comes in number 20 for Japan. Number 21, Albertus Smith for the Springboks, just to make sure the 6-2 setup is seen here with Esterhuizen at 20. Kenta Fukuda comes at 21 for Japan. Number 22, Grant Williams for the number 9 substitution. And finally, number 23, Mane Lebok will potentially come on at 10 and have Sasha move to fullback to shuffle players around. Sam Green comes at number 22 for Japan, and Tinen Costley, 23 for the Japanese team. I really hope that Rassi's really loaded out this game. I obviously don't want the rivalry between the two coaches, Rassi and what's his name, Rassi and Eddie Jones, has always been a pretty strong rivalry. And we've got, obviously, the two teams hasn't really played each other that much. Apparently only 3 times. I think it's more than that. But yeah, it's obviously losing in the Rugby World Cup to Eddie Jones, Japan, is not something that Rassi Rasmus wants to have that on his resume, right? So definitely wanted to make sure to put this one to bed and not have anything funny happen. Johan Cross will be the referee from Ireland this weekend, and also the weather. This will be at Wembley Stadium again in London, second game in London, and this will be on Friday, 4 a.m. That's tonight, isn't it? What? Friday? What? This one's tonight? But this is Sunday. It's Sunday for me. How can it be Friday if it's Sunday for me? Oh no, that's the weather. Sorry. Moving on. Okay, so same weather as before. Springboks won the rugby championship with, other than the, everybody wants to just close their eyes about the obviously the what's it called? the Wallabies game. And other than that, I think the Springboks has a pretty dominant performance against the All Blacks away in Wellington, biggest scoreline ever. So I think the Springboks were feeling really confident, but definitely wanted to make sure they put this one to bed with no ifs and buffs there. For Japan, they actually had lost the final to Fiji in the Pacific Nations Cup, and losing to Australia last week, they were looking to build a momentum into this one. So my predictions for this game. 120 points to 10 for the Springboks. I'm not joking. I expect triple digits from the Springboks this weekend because Dr. Rossi will deliver the results. Triple digits against Japan, please. I really want to see this. And yeah, let's move on. Finally, the last game of the week, last big game of the weekend, will be played in America, in Chicago. Ireland versus the mighty All Blacks. Last time they played in Chicago, Ireland won for the first time ever against the All Blacks. So yeah, history is, they say history never repeats itself, but the history always rhyme. So yeah, this is going to be a game with a French referee, Pierre Brousset, this weekend from, obviously, French has the greatest referees in the world, right? Especially, Matthew Renaud was the greatest referee, and Brousset is the second greatest, obviously. Brousset is actually a lot better, to be honest. Sometimes I feel like the French referees don't give the same respect to Southern Hemisphere teams. We'll have to wait and see if that's going to be another one of those things where he gave way too much respect for Ireland because in the Six Nations and have like almost no respect for the All Blacks. We'll have to see if that's going to be the case. Chicago this weekend, Saturday, cloudy. It's going to be perfect as always for a game of rugby. Now the Ireland team really didn't have that many players been selected for the Lions tour, and even though they missed out on the Six Nations to losing to France, pretty big loss there at home. Sam Prendergast has been criticized for having poor defensive as well out of that. So yeah, Ireland, despite that, still has a pretty strong players core group that went to the Lions tour, and obviously the head coach Andy Farrell will be returning to Ireland after basically handing the reins to Easterby during the Six Nations. So that could be a massive point of difference as well. And we can see in the number 10 selections, Prendergast is no longer at 10 for Ireland. So definitely getting Crowley on the field is something that I thought should have done at the Six Nations. And then, yeah, as a result, neither of the Ireland team 10s were even selected to the squad. So now that I think Andy Farrell has made the right decision, getting Crowley back in the start for the Ireland side. For the All Blacks, not really the greatest outings. They definitely peaked a bit against the Wallabies. You can say they peaked and maybe the Wallabies dropped. Who knows? But the All Blacks is looking at continuing to build. I thought the All Blacks definitely play a lot better against the Wallabies than against the Springboks, because they actually didn't just come out and try to kick goals. They actually pushed themselves to score tries, pushed themselves to apply pressure, and push themselves in that, to really assert themselves, assert that dominance with, strong mental fortitude against the Wallabies, and something that I did not see, especially the second game against the Springboks, just wanting to kick penalties. And I think that if the All Blacks carry that forward, this will be a huge improvement for them against the Irish. The All Blacks hasn't done so well recently in Ireland after losing to Chicago. Bit of 50-50 there, and then going into the Ireland winning the first time in New Zealand at home, a tour as well, 2-1. Other than the Eden Park game, the Ireland was actually quite dominant there. So a couple of rebuttals there. The Rugby World Cup eliminating the Irish team in the quarterfinals again was quite interesting. But yeah, we'll have to see if that's going to happen again in Chicago this weekend. So some of the players that's going to be performing this weekend. Ireland has fielded probably as strong of a team as they possibly could. So did the All Blacks. So Andrew Porter comes in at 1, Dan Sheehan and Ty Furlong number 3. Just outstanding players. And Andrew Porter, in my opinion, is the best player in the Ireland side. And always the dark arts in the scrummaging, something to watch out for. And it's gonna be really difficult to deal with for the All Black side when it comes to scrummaging. Ethan, the Groot, I am Groot, comes in number 1. We've got Cody Taylor number 2. The Crusaders front row set up here actually, and Fletcher Newell. Crusaders from Cody Taylor. Fletcher Newell comes in number 3. Ethan de Groot obviously plays for the Highlanders. And yeah, scrum battle is going to be huge. I think Fletcher Newell, it's going to be tough. I think Fletcher Newell might be able to hold up Porter, but we'll have to wait and see for this showdown to happen. Coming number 4, probably the best locks in the Northern Hemisphere. James Ryan, number 4, and Ty Burn, number 5. Ty Burn was the player of the tournament for the Lions tour. Absolutely workhorse, absolutely outstanding overall. Scotty comes in at number 4 for the All Blacks, and Fabian Hollands, ever since he's been added in the All Blacks fold, he's been absolutely outstanding. Come in at number 5. At number 6, we got Ryan Beard for Ireland. George Van der Fleer, number 7, and then Jack Conan gets not a number 8 jersey. Absolute, just really powerhouse player out, from Jack Conan and Beard, and then Josh Van der Fleer, always a workhorse around the breakdowns. Tough to match up there. We've got Simon Parker, who looks like he's just got a massive sunburn. Again, someone who's been, to my surprise, much better than I was expecting. Did really well for the All Blacks this year. Adi Savia comes in at number 7 in the open side flanker position to open up. Surprisingly, Peter Larkai gets the nod. Instead of having, because Peter Larkai normally plays 7 for the Hurricanes. So instead of having Peter Larkai at 7, have Adi Savia play number 8 where he normally is. They have Larkai at 8. So this is an interesting selection. Not sure what's going on there. Obviously, there's a bit of a coaching, a bit of a civil war amongst the coaches in the All Blacks with, Holland looking at leaving next year. So who knows? Who knows what's going on in the All Blacks selection there. Hopefully that's not something to do with the coaching disagreement backstage. But really interesting with also Satiti on the bench as well, ahead of Larkai. Another interesting decision there as well. So Jameson Gibson Park comes in number 9, outstanding at the Lions, so always outstanding for the Ireland team, basically carrying the team as the second playmaker. If the 10 isn't performing, Prendergast, I guess, in the case. Sam Roygaard has also probably the biggest difference between the All Blacks against the Springboks and the All Blacks against the Wallabies. He was just outstanding against the Wallabies. Really just massive difference between a team with the Roygaard and without the Roygaard. So 2 Kiwis going at it, number 9. Really interesting to see there as well. Jack Crowley returns to favour under Andy Farrell, number 10 jersey. Beauden Barrett returns from, I thought would have been a season-ending injury. He had a AC joint dislocation, and maybe just pulled it a little bit. Hopefully that's going to be okay for him. He's back at number 10 jersey. James Lowe comes in number 11 for Ireland. Caleb Clark, the double C, gets the nod at number 11 jersey. He's outstanding. He was outstanding and physical in the rugby championship. Number 12, Stuart McCloskey gets caught in ahead of Bangdi Aki and what's his name? The other guy, not Ringross. What's the other guy? Anyway, McCloskey gets a nod here at number 12 against Jordie Barrett. Everybody says Jordie Barrett. I think Jordie Barrett's outstanding. I think Jordie Barrett has so much talent, best fullback in the world. Doesn't even want to play fullback. Center as well brings a point of difference. A lot of you guys want to be Ma'a Nonu, but let me just tell you something. Ma'a Nonu is like once in a lifetime, performer out of the 12 jersey. His ability to bust the line, I don't think anyone has done anything close in the history of rugby. So to expect Jordie Barrett to match Ma'a Nonu in that regard is just really not possible. I don't think anybody is possible to match Ma'a Nonu's line break ability. But I think what Jordie Barrett brings to the table, the toolkit, the kicking game, the second playmaker, when Beauden Barrett got injured, Damien McKenzie came on a fullback. In the first Bledisloe test, he was a 10. He was the first receiver. Just the versatility, everything that he brings, the determination that this guy shows, and how many times he's sunk the Wallabies in the last, minute of the play to create, it's just, I think Jordie Barrett's just absolutely wonderful on the field. A lot of you guys say he's a terrible person off the field. I don't care. This is a rugby. I don't care what he does off the field. We're only talking about rugby here. Moving on. Gary Ringrose, number 13, and Quinn Tupaia returns to the 13 jersey for the All Blacks. Tommy O'Brien comes in at 14, and Leroy Carter, the biggest legs from the Chiefs, comes in at number 14. Jamie Osborne, number 15, gets the nod for a potential drop goal. He's probably planning for that. And Will Jordan comes in at number 15 for the All Blacks. Finally, in the reserves now, we've got Roland Keller comes in number 16. Paddy McCarthy, another newer guy, comes in number 17. Finlay Bealham, number 18. To finish off the reserves, we've got reserve front rowers. We've got Samasonic Taukiaho, the Chiefs man, number 16. The Mighty Crusaders, Tamati Williams comes in number 17, and Pasilio Tossi from the Hurricanes comes in number 18. Tossi has been really good ball carrier for the Hurricanes as well, so really interesting selection here. Obviously, I think Tara Lomax has a bit of an injury there. But yeah, Tossi off the bench is an outstanding selection there. Ian Henderson comes in number 19, and Kalen Doris, surprisingly not getting the start. He's come back from injury. He missed the Lions tour because of an injury. The former captain, I think he still might be the captain. I think, who's the captain this weekend? Is it Shiem? Shiem is the captain this weekend, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, he's going to be coming off the bench. Return to Test rugby. For the All Blacks, George Lord gets called up to number 19 due to some injuries. to one of the locks. I think, yeah, definitely that's injured. I think I think Tupelotu is injured. Patrick Tupelotu is injured, so he gets number 19 there. Wallace Titi on the bench. And number 21, Craig Casey for Ireland. Cordes Dratma, number 21. Sam Prendergast will become on the bench, number 22. Lester Fainga Anuku, reserve winger, potentially. Is he a winger and slash center? Comes in number 22. He's returned from overseas ventures. Bangdi Yaki gets number 23 as a extra center for the Irish, and Damien McKenzie will be coming on as a fullback potentially, or 10 to cover pretty much the entire backline there. So yeah, interesting. Yeah, this is so close. You know, I think that if you said Ireland's gonna win, I don't blame you, but I think that, you know, since it's so close, and I don't want to call it a draw, I think the All Blacks will edge this one by 1 point. 21 points to 20. Yeah. So let me know your thoughts, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching this video. And I'll see you guys this weekend for the reviews. Cheers.